We got the latest update on Shedeur Sanders from head coach Kevin Stefanski himself. Why are the Browns not using him? It's finally time to give some answers. We're going to talk about the plan for Shedeur coming up, so stick around. You're not going to want to miss what Cleveland's doing with him. And let's get hyped up to bring in number 12 very soon. If you're a diehard Browns fan, smash that hype button. How do you do that? If you go to the comments section on the mobile app of YouTube, you scroll right, you'll see a hype this video thing. Put some hype points on it. Show the hype, because you know number 12 brings hype to the football teams that he goes to. All right, they finally cannot have Stefanski avoid the question. Or can he? Reporter says, why wouldn't you, just to see if he does anything to the offense, give him, Shedeur, an opportunity to go in there and play? Stefanski said, yeah, honestly, my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus. He's avoiding it every single week. What does Shedeur think about this? Well, Brad Stainbrook, Cleveland Browns reporter, put out an Instagram post calling for Shedeur to start. He starts the post off saying, I've seen enough of Dillon Gabriel. It's time to put in Shedeur Sanders. Stainbrook then tweeted out that Shedeur liked this Instagram post right here in the likes. Now, I went on it myself and searched a couple days later. I couldn't find Shedeur's name in the likes, so maybe he unliked it. But this is a screenshot that the reporter put out on Twitter. So, see how much truth there is to it, but there's photo evidence. And, of course, Shedeur wants to play. I told you guys, he has that mentality. He wants to step in there and be great. And I don't understand why we're not having this conversation. Why Kevin Stefanski's not giving us answers. Why not even considering looking Shedeur Sanders' way right now? Are you watching Dillon Gabriel's performances the past few weeks? Yikes. Here's some numbers for you. His passing grade, according to PFF, is 47.6. That's worst among all starting quarterbacks. His completion percentage, 59.9, fourth worst. All right, this is where it gets jaw-dropping, folks, because his yards per attempt are 4.9, also worst among starting quarterbacks. So how do you throw the shortest passes of any quarterback and have the fourth worst completion percentage? You're not taking deep shots, and you're still inefficient. He's tied 7th in turnover-worthy plays. He's also dead last in average completed air yards. The average is 3.2 yards for our completions, ladies and gentlemen. Just take a look at it. Look at the numbers. Soak that in. It's unbelievable. And when you look at the turnover-worthy plays, in comparison to the amount of times he has a big-time throw, which is usually 20-plus yards, well, we barely take big-time throws. You see Dillon Gabriel in the bottom left there, and he still has some turnover-worthy plays. We don't take risks, yet it's risky. It's honestly so bad what we're watching. And, you know, I tried to give him a break the first couple weeks. He's just starting. It takes time to develop quarterbacks. But I didn't know it would be this bad. I'll even eat my words. Like, this might be worse than Flacco. This might be worse than what we saw with Joe Flacco. I thought it couldn't get worse than Flacco with the 8 turnovers. The offense has looked worse the past couple weeks. And maybe I'm just pissed off because I've been watching it. There needs to be a conversation about why Dillon Gabriel is the starting quarterback of this football team. It makes no sense. Some people have started to dive into some other theories, and we're just going to report the facts on it here. An ESPN article talked about the Browns head coach's agent. The CAA influence in Cleveland is similar to athletes first in Chicago. Jimmy Sexton, who declined to comment for this story, has represented the past 2 Browns head coaches, Freddie Kitchens, you guys remember him, and Kevin Stefanski. And another CAA agent represents Andrew Berry. Well, you know what other coaches are represented by the CAA agency? Dan Lanning, head coach of Oregon's football team, Brent Venables, and Gus Malzahn, Reed's Florida State offensive coordinator. All 3 of these coaches, Dillon Gabriel played for. So Dillon Gabriel's coaches have the same agency as the Browns head coach. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe this is why they're so keen on Gabriel. Maybe that's why they took him in the 3rd round, because who else had Dillon Gabriel going in the 3rd round of the NFL draft? Who had Gabriel ahead of Shedeur in draft rankings? Nobody. They love the kid. They really thought he would be better than 12. And listen, I'm going based off the last few weeks that we've seen. He's been off. There's no secret that this is Stefanski's pick. They're trying to push Gabriel to be the starter. They're going to keep rolling with him. He's still declining to comment on Shedeur. This seems like what they want to do going forward. Stefanski very clearly doesn't want to turn to Shedeur. His actions are evidence of this. No matter what point of the season we're at, he's been trying to turn away from putting in 12. You could start all the way in the preseason when Shedeur was quarterback 4 on a depth chart that had Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and Dylan Gabriel. He was then named quarterback 3 when Flacco was benched. So we said, all right, we're not going to use Flacco anymore, but Shedeur will still be underneath Flacco? Don't get it. And to this point, he has never gotten reps with first-teamers at all. That's just clear that you're not trying to develop the quarterback to go in very soon. They're trying to avoid this as long as possible. They're picking Gabriel. And I don't understand why. At this point, it's ludicrous to not have the conversation that Shedeur should start over Gabriel after the bye against the Jets in Week 10. How could you not take a look at this? We're all calling for it. Guess what? Andrew Berry will not speak to the media during the bye week for the first time in his tenure as the GM. Now he's ducking the questions. Literally, 6 years he's been a GM. It's tradition that the GM speaks during the bye week. Andrew Berry is not going to. What is going on? Every day it gets fishier and fishier. The Cleveland Browns plan for Shedeur. And I bet if Andrew Berry was speaking, there's a lot of questions that he would be ducking. Probably get asked, why was Flacco traded to a division rival, Cincinnati Bengals? Why did you not draft a wide receiver or an offensive lineman in the 2025 NFL draft? Are those not our biggest needs? Why is Shedeur not being developed? Why is he not gotten reps with first-teamers? Why is this not a conversation? I bet multiple reporters would be asking Berry about Shedeur. They're not trying to give us answers. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Makes no sense. And I understand they're going to stick with Gabriel for a couple weeks. But there's no reason, you can't tell me week 12, 13, 14, that we shouldn't see Shedeur. Remember, Browns did not draft the offensive lineman in 2025. And you knew coming into the season that we had 4 starting linemen on contract years. And tackles are a massive issue right now. You couldn't predict the DeJuan Jones injury. I get it. It's not like he was one of the best starting tackles in the league. No. A lot of questions Andrew Berry should be answering, and he's ducking them this week. If you were a reporter, what would you ask him? Comment below, Browns fans. One question for Andrew Berry. You're granted. What would it be? What do you want to know most from our GM? Tell me in that comment section below. Coming up on the show, Stefanski was asked for an update on Shedeur Sanders' back injury. We will talk about that, how that affects the Browns going forward, and his chances to play. But first, super excited to tell you that this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the hard-hitting football app. Action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Football is in full swing now on Sundays. All is right with the world, and I'm big into daily fantasy with PrizePicks. I'm obsessed with it because it makes all the games more entertaining. And before the Browns play, I lock in on all my players in my lineup and their player projections. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. And PrizePicks also offers injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks won't count it as a loss. So if that happens to me in my lineup this week, I could still make money. And my favorite picks are quarterbacks more than half a passing touchdown. Bryce Young, feel like any quarterback could throw one. CJ Stroud, more than half a passing touchdown. Josh Allen against the Chiefs, though, expect a shootout, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. I'm going to be making money this week. You can too if you download the app today and use code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. So where is Shedeur Sanders? What are the Browns doing with him? Well, like I said, he's not gotten any reps with the first teamers. So they're trying not to develop him to be the starter anytime soon. It tells me that you're going to have to wait a few weeks before we see 12, which is probably going to outrage some people, especially if Dylan Gabriel loses to the Jets. Week 11, there should be no excuse. Then, in a blowout game against the Dolphins, even though Shedeur was QB2 that day, the only day of any game day that he has been the official backup, he was not put into that game when it was 31-6. Who does that? Finally, he was suddenly inactive with a back injury on Sunday, and it really came out of nowhere. A lot of people thought it was fishy. I don't like to be the one to speculate, but it was fishy. And Stefanski was asked about it. So they asked him, Kevin, how did Shedeur hurt the back? He was like, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, nothing specific. He just came in and was stiff. Huh? Just stiff? It's not a back injury. He was sore. He was out there warming up. Now, that's almost enough evidence you need to just say, well, no, they just ruled him out. He was a little bit stiff. Yeah. No reason to have him available. I don't know, Browns fans. It's getting weird. I think he doesn't want to deal with it when Gabriel plays bad like he has been. I think he doesn't want to deal with the noise and the reporter questions. Whereas if Shedeur is just inactive, there's not like you could call fans can be screaming, put in Shedeur. Chants at the stadium, put in Shedeur. If he's not available, he doesn't have to deal with that necessarily. And I think it's time, to be honest with you, to put in Shedeur Sanders. They won't do it. But it's clear that this is not a winning recipe with Gabriel and this offense. And I understand the Browns have a lot of issues on the offense. But the numbers I just showed you about Dylan Gabriel and average yards per play being dead last in the NFL, it's probably the worst quarterback you could put into a bad situation. Like, that's why I'm saying, Flacco's turning it over, but he was taking shots. Honestly, it might have been slightly better. It really might have been. It was awful, though. Don't get me wrong. And this is awful. And this is where we're at, Browns fans. So, tell me I'm crazy for saying we should put in Shedeur. I don't think so. Would you do it? Would you bench Gabriel for Shedeur right now? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Let me know what you think in that comment section, Browns fans. Look, not saying it's going to solve all our problems. No, I don't think so. But I think now, with confidence, I can say it can't be worse than this. The offense is no way it could be this bad with Shedeur. I mean, for real. Tell me I'm wrong about that. So hopefully they develop him. I also will say I still think they do bench Gabriel at some point in the next couple weeks. But what we know right now, Stefanski says that is not going to be the case. He said, I'm sticking with Gabriel after the bye. And then it's only a matter of time, folks. If this play keeps up, if those numbers keep up, no way, no how would they run Gabriel the rest of the season. Come on. Go on over to X. Drop me a follow at Joey070 if you want to talk some more about this. Also, make sure you are subscribed to the Browns Report. Folks, I look forward to hearing all your opinions in the comment section. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Being subscribed to the family. We're nearly at 57,000 subs. You guys are the best. Hit that sub button if you want constant Browns updates and want to know what's going on with the quarterbacks, Shedeur included. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.